Aloha, good morning, bottoms up. This is the Maui Breakfast Club. This is Kelly Pully, and I'm with Tom Blackburn-Rodriguez. And Tom, we've got very special guests in this morning.
Yes, we do. We have John Kerr. John, you're the president of the Tea Party Maui. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And with Cindy Sue Clark. And Cindy, you are the vice president. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Aloha.
Okay, great. Now, we really want to thank you for coming in. We've had the chair of the Republican Party. We have the chair of the Democratic Party. I think at some point in time we want to bring in the folks from the Green Party. But you have you're part of a movement that has really been like a wildfire across America. Okay, you want to tell us a little bit about why you're involved in the Tea Party, and also what do you think are the basic principles of the Tea Party that's attracting the support you're attracting?
I got involved with the Tea Party because of the fact that a lot of people in the Tea Party are newcomers. We're all pretty much amateurs, and a lot of us, this is the first time we've been ever involved in the political process. What's happening across the country, all of us are seeing deficits that are out of control. We're seeing a deterioration of government. We're losing trust in government. And this is really a grassroots movement. There's no real organization across the country. These are actual people coming together on a community basis to voice their frustration with government.
Together as a group.
Together as a group. So
power in numbers.
Absolutely. And we have, the group is composed of a lot of different type of people. We have social conservatives, we have fiscal conservatives, we have libertarians, we even have Democrats that are involved in this thing. And the main thing that we've come together on is basically the fact that it's a tax issue. The T, of course, stands for taxed enough already, and that's the most important. That's the most important.
Tax enough already.
That's where the T in the Tea Party comes from. Of course, we take our name from the original Tea Party in 1773. Which is a
I saw your shirt, and I'll read it to the listeners. Party like it's 1773. Yep. That's great.
Now, Cindy, what about you? You're the vice president of the Tea Party Maui, and how did you get involved, and what do you think is the most important issue?
The overspending. The more they spend, the more they need money to tax us, and we feel we're taxed enough already. Another point I'd like to stress right now for the listeners out there, we've never met Sarah Palin.
You were saying,
the first thing she said when she came in.
She doesn't represent us, and we're all different on the islands. The Oahu Tea Party is different from us, the one on the Big Island. We talk once in a while, but we all do our own thing.
You were saying you're not associated with Sarah Palin, and all the Tea Parties, it's possible that you all may have different ideas and different visions.
Some of us like her, some of us don't. We all have our own diverse opinions.
Okay, but however, one thing that John said is how you unite is that you all agree across the board that there's just too much taxing going on.
Correct.
Okay, wonderful. All right, what would you say starting up a grassroots project like you are would be your biggest struggle?
Actually, there wasn't a struggle. People came out in flocks.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen any of our sign wavings. We have people up and down the block. I mean, it's
so
huge.
it was easy to find other people that also agree.
Yeah.
Government too big, too much taxes.
Were you surprised by the responses you received? I mean, sometimes somebody will put a notice in the newspaper and 3 people will show up, or kind of thing. How did you communicate with each other, and were you surprised by the responses that you got?
The first protest that we had, that we organized on April 15th, actually, of 2009, it was pretty much just put into the newspaper, and we had probably 200 people that showed up spontaneously. I mean, of course, there was some people were talking with one another, I'm sure, to encourage them, but it was mostly just people that had the same concerns, and they saw the ad in the paper that we were going to have this protest, and we were overwhelmed. I mean, we expected 50 people. We had 200. Our meetings, when people come talk to us at our meetings, we have meetings regularly about every 2 weeks, maybe once a month. We have a very strong, it's standing room only mostly. We have between 30 and 50 people that come to all of our meetings. And the first reaction from our speakers, if we have a guest speaker, is that they can't believe that there's this many people that have shown up. They'll come to a meeting with Republicans or the Democrats, for instance, and there might be 3 or 5 people. But for the most part, we've had standing room only. And since the election, a lot of people thought, since we didn't have as much success in Hawaii, of course, as we've had across the country, that people would become discouraged and that our meetings would fall off. And it's just the opposite. People are fired up.
Well, now you've got a job ahead of you.
We have a job ahead of us. And people are even more fired up than they were before.
John, one of the things that you'll see letters to the editor, they'll say Republican/Tea Party. Can you clarify for us? And the Republicans have been very much trying to accommodate the energy of the Tea Party, even to the point of like having forums as to who should be the next Republican national chair and that kind of thing. And you've got like Jim DeMint, and you've got some folks in the Senate and stuff. But you're telling me, are you associated with any political party, or do you have Democrats, Republicans, Independents? How do you answer that when people say, well, it's the Tea Party, but it's a stalking horse for the Republican Party? How do you answer that kind of thing?
Absolutely, and I agree with that. The biggest misconception is that we are part of the Republican Party. It's true that we have a lot of the same values, but it looks to me like the Republican Party has come towards the Tea Party rather than the Tea Party coming towards the Republicans. I think the Republican establishment across the country was absolutely flabbergasted with the grassroots movement and how the Tea Party was affecting national politics. So I think that they, instead of us gravitating towards them, they've gravitated towards us. And I think that even with what's going on with Obama right now, extending the Bush tax cuts, which he said he was absolutely not going to do, I think that's in response to this grassroots movement that has spread entirely across this country. And I think that he realizes, number one, that he has to deal, right now he has to deal with who he's got, but come January, he's going to have to deal with a much more conservative, much more fiscally responsible Congress. And he wants to deal with them right now on this basis. And right now, the Republicans are working with the president rather than the Democrats. And I think that's a direct reflection on the national mood and the fact that this country is totally coming to the realization
now, of course,
that we've overspent.
Of course, the other thing in politics is votes. Okay, and President Obama does not have the votes to do what he pledged he wanted to do during his presidential campaign. So, Cindy, I'm going to ask you, is this a shift in values, or is just this basically knowing how to count?
In your opinion.
In your opinion, is
Of
it
course.
counting?
Well, you want my opinion on what's going on with Obama and the Republicans?
No, in terms of the decisions John was talking about, President Obama announced yesterday that they will extend the tax cuts for everyone for the next
all Americans. You know what that means? Letting people keep their own money. It's not giving them money per se.
But my question to you is that a change in the president, or is it simply because he has to count the numbers? The reality is he doesn't have the political power to do what he was talking about doing before.
Correct. I believe that. He doesn't have the power to do what he could do before they had the majority. And, now they have to work together. And you know what? That's what it's all about, a two-party system working together. You can't just have one party doing it all.
But when we come back, I'm going to ask you, I was taught as a little girl, and I teach my children, it's a give and take relationship.
Correct.
You have to give in order to get. If you want to get, you have to give. So my question is as we continue to extend these tax credits, and let's assume if you had, in a perfect world, the government running the way the Maui Tea Party would like to see it, what are you willing to sacrifice in order for these tax credits? So I'm curious to know if you've outlined them or identified them, and we'll bring you back in the next segment to answer that question.
Great. Thank you very much. And we will be coming back, and we're talking about a great discussion with John Kerr and Cindy Sue Clark. We're talking about tax cuts. We're talking about values. We're talking about deficits. And we're talking about what the Tea Party Maui would hope to accomplish over the next couple of years. This is AM 900 KNUI.
AM 900 KNUI, and we are the Talk of Maui, Tom.
We certainly are.
We'll be right back.